Hey, welcome back, guys. So your tip of the day for today is regarding standing Qigong and focusing on quality instead of length of time. So most people have their Qigong, oh, I've got to do my Qigong for 15 minutes. That's the bare minimum. That's what all the teachers say. We've got to do 15 minutes, whatever time your teacher has told you to do. But the problem is if your aim is time, is a set amount of time, chances are you'll cheat to get there without even realizing it. I'm not saying you purposefully try to think up cheats to get there, but you'll subconsciously make it easier. You'll stand a little bit higher. Maybe you'll start to lean forward a little bit or, arch your back a little bit. You'll do certain things to take the pressure off where the pressure should be. So if you're doing that, then you're not getting good quality Qigong anyway, and there's no point in doing it for 15 minutes if it's bad quality. Oh, it's not no point, it's still going to do something. You're still getting a bit stronger each time you do it, I guess. But you'd be far better off doing 5 minutes of good quality Qigong compared to 15 minutes of bad quality Qigong. The amount of times I've had students come to me and I've said, oh, how long are you doing your standing Qigong now? Oh, 15, 20, 25 minutes. And then I've literally, this is not an exaggeration, I've literally had people who have said they've been doing Qigong for 30 minutes. And then when I put them in the Qigong stance, and not just put them in and then walk away and check someone else, but because I've known this person needs some help, they've got some emotional issues or something, I'll literally put them in the position, but I will stand there and do a Qigong with them. I'll be standing on their side with my hands placed on their body. So my energy is helping them. As soon as there's no chance they get to stand up. Because if I put them in a position, whoop, they've stood back up. Da, 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 da. Another person, come back, put them back into position. It means they're only actually standing in the good position for a few seconds until I walk away. So I'll stand with them. I'll get into a Qigong state myself. I'll make sure they stay low. I'll make sure they stay tucked and rounded. I'll make sure everything is in the right spot for their body, for their frame, their body structure. And they've literally lasted 3 minutes in that position when they said they could do 25 or 30 minutes. So that's how much of a difference bad Qigong can be compared to quality Qigong. Now, not most people are not that bad. Most people would be able to do, if they could do half an hour, maybe with good Qigong, they might be able to do 15 or 20 minutes or something like that. But it's still there. It's still a point to be made. So what I try to do nowadays, I do it myself, but I usually do my Qigong fairly correctly anyway, but I've even found benefit myself, and I've been doing it a long time, but particularly for students, is instead of going into your Qigong and thinking, right, go. It's on the 12. I've got to last for 15 minutes. Okay, and every, you think maybe 10 minutes has passed and you gaze over. Damn it, only 5 minutes has passed. Legs are getting sore. And that's when you start to creep up, you see. So instead of worrying about the clock, try this. Sink down and think to yourself, I want to exhaust my legs, get the shake happening and exhaust my legs as quickly as possible without doing anything stupid. I don't want you sitting down like this or something. You've still got to maintain the correct principles. If I sit down like that, it means I'm leaning forward, so you can't do that. Or without causing excessive tension in the body as far as going too low. So, but yeah, instead of being like, I could do my Qigong here. That's all right. Feels okay. Or I could do it here. Yeah, now that feels strong. That feels really good and powerful. But I'm going to last half the amount of time here that I would here. The limit of how low you should ever go comes down to your ankles more so than anything else. If I sink down, I'll go sideways so you can see. Okay, if I start to sink down, right, sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. Okay, I can go to about there, I would say. That's about my low point. If I go lower than that, there, just that little bit lower, now I'm feeling excessive tension in the ankles because my ankles have reached their maxed out point. So obviously your ankle joint, when the knee goes forward, your ankle is bending, right? Your toes are coming towards your shin. There's a limit to how far that can bend, right? So it can't just keep going. You can't put your toes on your shin. You can't bend it all the way back, yeah? So it's your ankles which create the limit. A lot of the time we say knee over toe, but that doesn't always work because it's a rough guide. That's all it's there for. But for example, I've got students who are, 6.5 feet tall, but they've got feet shorter than mine. They've got little tiny feet. So in which case, if their leg bends till the knee is over the toe, they're literally just like that. Like equivalent of my body, they're barely bent. And this means, but they're still following the correct rules. My knee's in line with my toe. But because their feet are so short, there's barely any bend in their legs. Even myself in comparison to my father, I'm taller than my father, than he was. I'm considerably taller than he was. But my feet are shorter than he was. So he was shorter with longer feet. So when he put his body in knee over toe position, his knees and his hips were actually a lot more bent than what mine would be if I put myself exactly in knee over toe position. So yeah, it's a rough guide, but it's not really the be all and end all. You don't have to go exactly there. I tend to find if I go exactly knee over toe, I don't really feel quite low enough. I want to go just it's not much, it's just a fraction past that point. But yeah, if I keep my weight sunk down here to the forward part of the heel where my weight should be, so I'm not right at the back of the heel or right at the front of the toes, I'm in that centered point where you should be. I'm not going to teach you Qigong here. But I sink down, so my ankle joints feel like they're giving, they're moving. Yep, that's all good. About there, past that point now they feel like, I'll use my wrist as an example because I can't show you my foot so well. I can move this, my wrist joint, to there, right? I can move it to there. So let's say I can move it to there, and that's just about there is where I start to feel, like pressure in my wrist. Now it can go a lot further than that, you see? It can go from there, it can go a hell of a lot further, but only using quite a lot of tension. I can't even get it to there using my own muscles. I have to push on it to bend it in. And same goes the other way. I can come up to sort of there without that excessive tension, then I can bend it just that little bit further. So it's the same concept with the ankle. The ankle works much the same as the wrist. So you want to sink down, then you've got to, of course, there's another tangent to this as to ankle flexibility. You may have problems with your ankles that stop you from being able to sink down. That's another story. But yeah, you want to sink down to that point where right now I don't feel any of that pressure in the ankle joint. Okay, so I can be here. This feels like it's a nice bend, it's good enough. But now, oh yeah, that feels better. That feels stronger. That feels like I'm going to get more heat build up, more qi building, but I still don't feel any pressure on my ankles. Now if I go here, now I can feel my ankle, like the bones are pushing on each other. They can't go any further, and I don't like the joint itself is locked out. I don't want to have a joint in a locked out position when I'm trying to cultivate qi. So that's the general idea that I wanted to put across here in this tip is, I'm not saying to go like, okay, I'm going to sit down here. Just go where you normally go. Sit down to where you normally sit. And then just say to yourself, okay, I'm just going to go like an inch further. Just an inch further than I normally sit. And does it still feel fine? If you feel some kind of really weird excessive tension run through your body in your ankle or your hip or something, then maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you probably best not until you can have some hands-on time with a good teacher. But if you go from there and you're like, okay, what am I feeling? Tension points and, where is the structure? And then you go just that little bit further. If it essentially feels the same, apart from a little bit of extra pressure in the thighs themselves, of course, then there should be no problem with you standing in that position. But you'll find you'll start to shake maybe after 5 minutes instead of after 15 minutes. So just have a play around with it. Quality instead of time. Thank you very much.